Hello, Crypto fam, and welcome back to the Crypto Moses channel. Today's video, we're going to go over these two articles that are going to impact crypto for the long run. And not just that, we're also going to look at the charts and kind of what the price has changed, maybe because of articles like this, and what the future holds for specifically XRP and Bitcoin. So let's get right into it today. So the first article that really caught my attention was that XRP has slid about 4% as Bitcoin traders are cautious of the 105K resistance. And what they really mean by that is recently we had that uptrend, right? We've had some good trades on this uptrend, and this occurred up to about a 105.742. And then from there on, we've just kind of had a decline. We bottomed out at around 4% decline, which took us back to 100K. But what's awesome is we did not break the 100K barrier. What is impacting us, though, is currently we are sitting at this resistance line that we can see. It's been pretty freaking consistent, and it's holding through really well. And then we've got this, I would call it like an ascending triangle creating. This is usually a bad sign, and it usually signifies another drop. But the good news is we also have been following this trend line down here. All right, you guys, so we've been following this trend line down here. It bottomed out here. It bottomed out down there. So as long as it does it again, we could hold up above the 100K mark. And that's what we need. As long as it stays above that 100K mark, that is a psychological turn for BTC and entail the entire crypto market. So yes, XRP took a bit of a plunge. We're going to go over that TA-wise at the end of the video here. So stick around for that. But before we go into that, I want to talk about this article. What has occurred is there's a crypto law that's recently been rejected in the US, and it has been amended. So what that means is that they are removing it. And there are some negative changes that have been added, but I actually think that these are positive changes, because here's the thing. They're not necessarily attacking cryptos or meme coins, but what they are trying to do is not have a stable coin market that would impact the US dollar, right? So one of the most notable provisions that I saw on here is that it's going to prohibit stablecoin issuers from using words like United States and United States government or even USG in their product names. And this is important because they don't want to tie down a stable coin to the US dollar, right? And this is really critical because the US dollar is on a not gold funded basis. It is on a print basis. So they're able to print more, but they don't want other people to be able to issue more, which again makes sense from a governmental standpoint. It does suck that they always want this control, but I actually agree with what they're doing, because then it doesn't mean that they're going to come after the general cryptos. They're not going to come after the altcoins. And more importantly, they're not going to come after meme coins, because we're still waiting on this meme season. Now, this bill will also significantly limit tech giants like Amazon, Meta, Google, and Microsoft from issuing their own stable coins unless they are a financial institution. And this is an important basis on this, right? Because if we have another financial institution issue the stable coin, it will be backed by the government, which entail will also allow them to say it could be FDIC insured, which is what we need in the crypto industry. And when something like that occurs, I think the bull run will be crazy. I think we'll hit 200K, 300K, because then now people see the value in cryptocurrency, as now the US government is allowing institutions to actually put stable coins that are backed by the US Treasury, which would be insane, right? What the law also does is it gives the Treasury Department the authority to spend registrations for negligent or willful misconduct by issuers. This is important as well, because that's going to protect the general retail user on crypto. And you guys, that's super duper important in this industry, because that's the only thing that's going to move us forward to actually go into the next bull run, right? So these are actually really important articles to think about. One we learned today is that XRP did take a bit of a plunge. We're about to do the TA on it, and I'll show you guys where I do trade it, especially since they've upgraded the charts. I actually use the hell out of BTCC. Here's my link, and I like trading XRP on here for two reasons. One, it allows me to do up to 500x leverage. Now, I'm not recommending that, but if I do play a 500x leverage, it's very small margin, just because then it's a little bit of a less of a risk, but then I have a huge potential to the upside. And if you're like a spot trader, what you could also do is just take bigger margin positions, but then only leverage it by 2, 3, 5x. And that's what's so nice about this. We can leverage it at any number we want. You just pick it here, you click confirm, and boom. And then to easily open a position, you'll just go to the market, or go to limit. I usually recommend limit because the fees are cheaper when you're doing a limit order. They're about half. So then you'll put in here, like in this example, I can open it with the last price. Then you're going to be able to click here and decide, do you want to quantitate it with XRP or with USDT? So I like to do the USDT, click the last, and then in here, put the amount I want to open, right? So if I do $50,000 in this, it's only going to cost me $129 to open a long and $129 right now to open a short based on this position. That's actually why I really, really like the exchange. And they still have the deposit bonuses going on. So I would use that on the link below because it's literally free money. So whatever you deposit, they'll give you 10% to trade with. And one thing I like about BTCC is they'll let you trade with that first bonus that they've given you before it actually uses your money. So that's amazing. No other exchange I have found does that. So I definitely think you should use that to your advantage. But let's take a look at XRP and kind of what it's doing right now. And I want to do some general TA because here's the thing to know. XRP is always going to be more volatile than Bitcoin. And the reason is because XRP has a lower market cap, okay? It is a lower market cap. And you can see here, we were actually doing TA yesterday on our private group. Let me show you guys what we did to kind of come up with that number and why we knew that this was the top for a bit. I'm an idiot though and did not take the short. So what you're going to do here is we're going to use the trend-based fib extension tool. What that's going to tell us is where the asset could make it to the top, right? And I actually think I did that wrong. So what we did here is here's the bottom. Then we've got the one wave count. And then we go back down to the bottom. And what that shows us here is the extension. So let's actually make these lines a little bit stronger so it's easier to see. Okay, and what we see here, you guys, is in this area, here's the golden ratio, right? But in the trend-based fib extension, you're not looking for that. What you're really looking for is where it's going to top out at. Let me see if I can make... It's okay. What we can see here is that this is the 1.618 position, and it has actually hit that. And what it could also tell us is that it could make it to the 2.618. And this is actually a really good position because that is a previous high. But more importantly, that was a very, very valid point. So XRP could easily hit that. Now, if it hits something like this, the only negative is it would make a double top if we go on a bigger time frame, right? Because if it hits here, that becomes in a sense a double top, which is also lower than that previous high. We need to break $3.40 to be able to see it riding up to maybe $3.80. And I'm really hoping we get to $4.23. But that's for a long-term play. For a short-term play, what you would want to be looking at here is, okay, so currently XRP, we're going to go to the hour time frame, broke above this trend line that it's been following for months, right? You guys, it's been following that trend line from the top here all the way down, right? So it's gone down like this. But the nice thing about XRP specifically, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, is instead of making a double trend line going down, it's actually stabilizing at this price. So these would have all been great buying points to just ride the waves, right? Here you would have missed out and probably taken a loss, but not a big deal because again, from here, it totally broke out of that position. And what we can see here, it went up about 27% in 23 days. And you guys, that's massive profits, especially if you're using leverage as a tool to your advantage. And for where we are right now, so there's two ways you can use this. You can use the fib retracement from the bottom of this run to the top, and we can see it has hit the 0.5. Usually this is nice for a bounce, but what we want to see is that it breaks through the 0.382 and hopefully makes it back and retraces all the way here. If it doesn't do that, we're going to be looking for entry long positions at the 0.618 or the 0.786. And another thing you could do with your fib tool is use it from the very bottom of the trend change to the top. And we could see, okay, this white line here, which has been a consistent resistance, right, all this time, also matches to the 0.618. So if we get a little bit of a bear run in the next couple of weeks to a month, then we do have the capability to get back to $2, but that's where I'm going to be loading up my position. I do believe that it could break through and maybe even get back to here, which is very, very normal that it happens in crypto. That's the benefits of crypto. It can be very volatile, But with that, that would mean that it's going to be a way bigger bounce up, because you want to think of it like a rubber band. So currently with XRP, as we get into the lower time frames, we see here, okay, we made a double top here, and now we're going down for sure. And this going down has only been roughly about 11% in 2 days. So what you're going to be wanting to find is some long positions. And don't forget my 3 lines here. We've got the white, the yellow, and then the green moving average. The white one is the 200 EMA, and that calculates the previous 200 candles. Then the yellow one is the previous 50 candles. And then this one is I think it is the previous 9 candles, if I remember right. I love this one just because it has them all in one. Yep, it's actually the 20. So we've got the 250 and the 20 EMA, and those are usually used, specifically the 20 EMA. We're going to use that for the lower time frames, where the white and the yellow one are going to be used for higher time frames. So currently right now with XRP, I'm waiting to see where it stabilizes, and then I'll be looking for a long position. Make sure you guys are following and subscribe to the channel, and I'll start posting some of these live trades here, not just in the private group, just to see if I can help you guys as well. Thank you so much for following. I appreciate all the love and support. I'll see you guys on the next one.